Hi everyone. So the first thing I'm going to do is preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now because I chose to use chicken tenderloins, I'm actually not going to need to butterfly them. But what I still want to do is take a paper towel and just blot them to get any excess moisture. This is about 1.5 pounds of chicken tenders. These are going to be thinner than your average chicken breast. Alternatively, if you want to also skip the butterflying of your chicken breast, you could use already thinly sliced chicken breast that you can find at your local supermarket. Next, I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of butter and melt it. I'm using a cast iron skillet because it says that it needs to be oven proof. Now, alternatively, you could use a non-stick skillet and then just transfer all of the items that are in here to a baking dish prior to entering it into the oven. So again, 2 tablespoons of butter here, and we're working at about a medium-high heat. Next, I'm gonna add in my garlic, oregano, and thyme. First, I need 3 cloves of garlic. I already use pre-minced garlic, and so I'm going to add in 3 half teaspoons, or 1.5 teaspoons. I'll spread it around as soon as I get it all in the pan. And I'm just going to estimate my oregano and 1/4 teaspoon of this, so this is just kind of a pinch of thyme. There we go. I'm going to grab a wooden spoon and just stir that all around. Make sure that gets all nice and fragrant here. About 30 seconds is all it's going to take. Next, I'm going to actually add in all of my chicken tenders. These are going to cook on each side for about 3 to 4 minutes. An additional really helpful tool is this, which can help prevent that grease splatter that can cause you injury. So we're at about 3 minutes here. That means I'm going to flip over these chicken breasts that I can tell are getting golden brown on the other side. You can see how they cooked on that first side. We're going to let them go about 3 more minutes on the other side, and then we're going to place them in the oven. All right, the last thing I need to do before I'm putting these into the oven is to add a 1/4 cup of chicken broth. Be very careful when adding broth into this because that grease in there is going to be very hot, and this water that's the base of the broth could splash back up at you. So try to pour away from you so it doesn't splatter up at your face. Also, don't try to do this while holding a phone, probably. Okay. There we go. I'm going to take this off the heat now and then put it right into the oven. Remember, that's at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. There they are in the oven. Again, they're going to cook at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. While the chicken is baking, we're actually going to fry up some bacon, as you can see here. Once again, this tool comes in handy for preventing that grease from splashing up. This could take about 10 or so minutes. We're working with medium-high heat in our skillet. And again, it's going to be about 10 minutes. Probably about 5 or so minutes, I will flip that over. While we're waiting for our bacon to cook and our chicken in the oven, we can actually start a large pot of water here to boil that will cook our angel hair pasta in. You can really use whatever pasta you choose. I'm going to stick with the angel hair that they recommend. Make sure to heavily salt your water there. I'm going to use some nice kosher salt for that. Once your bacon's done cooking, Move it over to a plate that has 2 paper towels there that you can get some of that excess grease off of the bacon. From there, we're gonna break it up into some smaller pieces that we'll be adding into our dish. So after 15 minutes of our chicken being in the oven, I want to test the internal temperature to make sure it's at least 165, which it definitely is. We want to check each of the pieces at the thickest location. So I would say to those of you that are doing anything tenderloin wise instead of the chicken breast, you can probably go a little shorter than 15 minutes. Now after we took the chicken out of our pan, I put it back up to about a medium heat, and I'm going to make my pasta sauce. The first thing I'm going to do is add in my 1 tablespoon of flour. And I want to mix that around before adding in any of my other ingredients. What the flour is going to do is it's going to help thicken up the rest of the broth that is still, broth and chicken juices that are still remaining in there. Oh, look at that nice brown color there. Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be a really rich sauce. All right, so now that that's all mixed together, the next step is to add in, my whipping cream. This is a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. Once again, because that does have an element of, water in it, you do want to be careful about adding that in there to make sure it doesn't splatter. I'm going to mix that up a bit. You can also use a wire whisk if you would prefer. I just have a preference for a wooden spoon, that's all. Okay, that looks like it's getting mixed in there. Next, I am going to grab my 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. You can see, you could use shredded. I just happen to have grated instead. And mix that in. All right, from there I'm going to add in my sun-dried tomatoes, a 1/4 cup chopped, and a dash of red pepper flakes. If you don't want to have it be too spicy, you could also omit the red pepper flakes. There we go. I want to thin this out a tiny bit, so I'm going to add in a little bit more of that chicken stock that I have on hand. We'll also make sure that we are cooking our pasta once that water comes up to a rolling boil. I'm only going to be using about 8 ounces of pasta just because I'm making a smaller number of servings. So we're going to add that in. And we'll wait till that comes to about al dente. The pasta, if you're using angel hair, should only take about 2 to 3 minutes to become al dente. So you can see that's done and drained. I have my sauce. I did need to add a little bit of extra chicken stock and a little extra heavy whipping cream just to thin it out a little bit till it got to the texture that I wanted. Now I'm going to incorporate the sauce into the pasta, and then it's going to go into my meal prep containers where I'm going to top it with the some sliced up chicken and the bacon crumbles that I made.